Hey Tiger Town, Natalie Sexton here. On today's episode of Sexton in the City, brought to you by Baffin, I'll be chatting with defensive coordinator Mark Washington. Let's get to know him. Hi Mark.
Hey, how you doing?
Good, how are you?
Outstanding.
Thanks for being here today to chat.
My pleasure.
I always like to start off with asking people what they were like as a kid.
Well, I think that you better ask my mom. She'll tell you, right? An inquisitive little boy, asked a lot of questions, would observe a lot. You know what I mean? My great-grandfather once told me, he was like, one day he saw me holding my chin like this, and he told me not to do that. And I said, why? He said, because it makes you too wise. So ever since then, I just do this a lot, you know what I mean? So yeah, that's the kind of kid I was,
So what would 3 words you would use to describe yourself now as an adult?
I say loyal, focused, and devoted.
Who was your role model or a sports hero that you had when you were growing up?
One of my sports heroes, even though he really didn't play a lot of sports, was my dad. He's an amputee. He lost his leg when he was little, and so he learned how to play baseball in particular on crutches, and so he would run around. He couldn't run out. He couldn't really run, but he was my hero. And one of the reasons why I played hard the way I did when I was younger is because I knew that he never had an opportunity to actually play. And so I guess my athleticism and speed and stuff came from somewhere, so it was my way of honoring him.
Wow, that is so beautiful.
Yeah.
Wow. Was football always your number one sport that you wanted to play?
Yes, without question. It was it. I mean, my mom and dad used to tell me that my first word was touchdown. I don't know, maybe it was one of those myths or one of those legendary stories or whatever, but yeah, they said my first word was touchdown. So if that's the case, you gotta play football, right?
What was the first position that you played when playing football?
Running back. Oh yeah. I mean, they gave me the ball, I ran, I was faster than everybody else, so it was like, hey, this kid can run, give him the ball. So that's what I did. That was it. My first scrimmage, I went out, some kid landed on me, I bruised my ribs, I hurt my ribs. My mom, typical, came running out the stands like, no, don't hurt my baby. I was like, oh Lord. But the coach begged my mom to say, please, Mrs. Washington, let Mark play. We'll get him some rib pads. He bought me some rib pads. The rest is history.
What advice would you give to the next generation, that look up to you, that want to do what you're doing?
Hard work pays off. But you gotta be, everybody wants to be a star or this or that, but they don't realize the work that it takes to actually do it. And that the fun part isn't actually getting there. The fun part is actually the journey on your way there. That's where your lessons are learned. That's where you build it, and that's where you become who you really are. Once you get to the destination, it's the destination, right? And you're there. And now, as soon as you get there, it's like when you go on vacation. As soon as you get there, it's like, it's great. But then you start thinking about the next vacation. But it's the journey there. That's where the value is. That's where you grow. That opposition and the adversity that you face, that's where the growth is.
I love that.
Yeah.
I'm going to listen to that when I watch this interview. That's really good.
Oh, yeah.
So game day, let's talk a little bit about game day. What are you, music-wise, what are you, if you are, listening to that really motivates you and gets you in the zone?
I'm a mellow guy. I love listening to, it just depends on what kind of mood I'm in that day. Sometimes I go to like Christian hip hop artists like Lecrae, guys like that. I'll listen to that, but sometimes I'm real mellow. It just depends on what I'm feeling like that day.
What's your meal before game day, and what was it when you were playing as well? So let's do that as a 2-part question.
Okay, so I'll start as a player. It was typical things that I knew was going to give me fuel in the game. So pasta, some type of carbohydrate that can be broken down quickly, so I can go out there and perform. But then you also needed some type of meat, some type of protein. So what is something simple that, some chicken or something like that. Not always, but for the most part, I always tried to keep something at halftime. So I would literally, like a Snickers bar, candy bar. I would eat that at halftime, you know, just to give me that energy, you know what I'm saying? And Snickers really does satisfy, you know, it took the hunger away. Nowadays, it's as long as sometimes I don't eat a lot right before the game. I like being able to stay focused. But at halftime, I will get some type of bar, something like that, because you do get hungry. The games are long sometimes.
I would imagine so. So then, okay, what's your, okay, my last question for you. I would love to know, the autobiography of your life is being made. Who is playing Mark Washington?
Denzel Washington. That's my cousin. You know what I mean? Like,
Perfect.
I hope you. I don't know. He may be my cousin. I mean, maybe. I doubt it. But Denzel for sure. I mean, like,
Love it.
He's the best actor in the world.
I agree.
And we got the same last name, so I didn't even have to change much. You know what I'm saying?
Thanks, Mark. Thanks
Thank
for
you.
chatting with me today.
Appreciate it.
Really great to get to know you.
Good to know you too. Thank you very much. Appreciate it.
Thank you.